Now that Tell Your Tale has a bunch of episodes and Make Your Mark is out, I thought it would be a good time to follow up on my rewrite of A New Generation by breaking out that extra material I mentioned. Firstly, I'll go into greater detail about how I would have characterized the main five. Then I'll see if the new content has improved on anything. Also, before I start, I want to quick say thanks to DHC Gaming for the comment. I appreciate it. And yes, I will be making a series out of these kind of like writing analysis rewrite videos. For more characterization, I would have expanded Sunny's business from smoothies to include baked goods and pastries. And I would have really accentuated her adventurous personality. Just like how Twilight was a bookworm and very studious and knowledgeable, Sunny would be adventurous, digging into the past, and a truth seeker type character. Originally, they had scenes of her and Argyle actually advocating for pony unity together in town. And that's how I would have depicted their relationship. He would have done research and been an advocate for unity all through her childhood, and she would have followed in his footsteps. Maybe the reason for this behavior is that Sunny's mom could have been a unicorn or something. I don't know, but that's, kind of a tangent I'm not going to go into. But the point is, I want her personality to be more accentuated, so she's more engaging as a hero, leaning into her actually going out and searching for answers before the events of the film. Because knowing that she spent all her life searching for clues as to why the pony tribe split apart and trying to find ways to bring them back together would have made her journey in the film a lot more meaningful than, Unicorn shows up at the town and she's like, alright, yeah, I'll just do this. And Sunny is an outcast. People don't pick on her or treat her particularly badly, but people don't take her seriously. She's kind of, the town laughingstock. She's a kook to them. At best, they tolerate her presence, but don't seek out or enjoy her company. At worst, they'll egg her lighthouse or threaten her for going against the grain.
You putrid cunt! I don't want to be lectured by a subspecies rat such as yourself!
Calling her ideas dangerous.
Cunt!
Her role thematically is of someone who's looked at as an outsider for having different views. It comments on tolerance, love and tolerance, the brony ideals, and how it's actually important to listen to others and treat other opinions as valid, instead of just being in an echo chamber, and saying that it's wrong to look down on others for thinking differently than you. Like Sunny, Hitch and Izzy have no significant changes in who they are. I just want to accentuate their personalities to better show who they are. Izzy is still super bubbly and quirky, but she's nervous about putting people off at first, so she's quiet and kind of anxious, but you can still tell that she's kind of a goofball. She's afraid her true self will scare them away, so at first she kind of hides it, even though she's eager, so she has trouble hiding it, but you can kind of tell that she is. And once she has a steady friend in Sunny, she's more comfortable being herself.
Fuck.
And her personal journey is of becoming more confident in who she is. She's bullied, looked down on, and avoided. Not because of her ideas, but just because she's different and weird. This, of course, speaks out on why bullying sucks, and how it's wrong to treat people who are weirdos badly. But it also makes her character that much more impactful. The fact that, in spite of being treated so badly by everyone all her life, she's retained her joy and kindness makes her character stronger. Especially if it's shown that she experiences moments of doubt, loneliness, and depression because of what she's gone through, and never takes it out on others. She starts the film having no friends and ends it with 4 new ones, and that should provide the perfect opportunity for character growth. Going from hiding who she is and being quiet and shy to being openly her weird self. Hitch's journey of becoming less bigoted is already really good. So all I want to do is accentuate his inner detective's curiosity and logic, as well as his selflessness. This desire to find answers and solve problems pairs him really well with Sunny. But he has a more logical and methodical approach to problems that would make him view things from a different angle than she does. And she is far more impetuous. She's more likely to dive in head first, just like she did with Izzy. But Hitch is more likely to make a plan before moving in. Furthermore, he's straight edge with a respect for authority, where Sunny has never looked at maritime-based government with much fondness. That, plus being an outcast, makes her more likely to bend and break rules than Hitch. His role in conveying the film's themes is that he's caught in between Sunny and the town. He humanizes people caught between a desire to fit in and a friend who's different, as well as people who've grown up in a bigoted society and fall victim to its bigoted ideas. His character arc sends a message that you should be patient and understanding with these people, because it's hard to be in that position, and to unlearn a lifetime of bad lessons. There are lots of people out there who are deep down good inside, but are products of a bad society, a bad family, or just a bad situation. Additionally, the fact that he and Sunny are still friends at the start of the film Show that it's okay to be friends with someone who you passionately disagree with. Zipp can be somewhat bitter and cynical at times. She rejects her royalty as she's her mom's second favorite despite being the eldest. She's expected to be mature and shoulder the burden of leadership despite receiving little affection and no support from her mother. My Zipp would, to rebel, sneak out a lot with an alter ego, hiding her princess identity. In doing this, she actually sees the needy parts of Zephyr Heights firsthand and up close. This explains her street smarts and stays in tune with her sneaking out to glide. She's in Pipp's shadow, and while she loves her, it still creates conflict. The fundamental role I see her playing in the theme is of a person whose personality, interests, and tastes aren't respected. She's kind of a punk, a rebel, but her mom tells her she needs to be someone else. So, with the movie's message being to respect others and their differences and to come together, her character comments on respecting others' interests and not letting that affect how you treat or think of them. I want Pipp to be an actual character and not an obnoxious husk. I would make her introduction less vain. She announces her stuff but adds a bit of positivity, trying to lift up the people and encourage them. Her major flaw is that she's sheltered, privileged, and too egotistical for what Pipp says to get through. Pipp thinks she has it all figured out, and her position in the spotlight and as mom's favorite feeds her ego so she doesn't feel the need to change or improve herself. Nevertheless, she genuinely cares and wants to help and uplift others and use her platform and station for good. Her contribution to the film's message is saying that even people who do conform and play into their set roles can want to do and can achieve good. She's a foil to her sister who shunned her status. While everyone else worked to change things from the outside by breaking out of the system to disrupt the status quo, Pipp embraced it and tried to help others from within, using her position of influence and her privileges for good. Her message is similar to Hitch's, that not everyone who isn't a victim is a perpetrator, nor are they always complicit. Well, I'm happy to report that Zipp and Pipp, the characters I think needed it the most, were greatly expanded upon by Tell Your Tale. The first episode does a lot with them in the Pegasi. Firstly, just look at the scene where Pipp is packing her things to visit Maritime Bay, specifically Zipp's reactions. Her intro already hints at how she knows her mom will make things into a spectacle, and you can tell by her tone that she doesn't like that. Then look at her reaction to seeing herself covered in Pipp's clothes and accessories. It appalls her. Also, look at just what she's wearing. A cape like you see royals wearing, and a crown. When she throws it all off, there's two layers to it. Firstly, she isn't into fashion like Pipp, but secondly and most importantly, the accessories are symbols of royalty, and by rejecting them, she's rejecting her title. It's very subtle foreshadowing of her as a reluctant ruler. Then look at Zipp's modest duffel bag versus Pipp's mountain of luggage. It's perfect contrast between who they are. Then there's the goodbye parade. We get a short dialogue between the newscasters hinting at Zephyr Heights' slow adjustment to having flight, and we get to see exactly what they're talking about later in the episode. When all the mayhem happens later on, it might seem like mindless silliness for the kids watching, but that subtle foreshadowing adds a deeper meaning to it. The Pegasi are still learning to fly. One subtle but major tell of how it's a slow process is that most of the Pegasi are still watching from the ground. Also, just look at how excessive the parade is, with the giant balloons and everything. It shows how there's a cult of personality around the celebrity rulers. It's clear how Pipp is just built for it, but Zipp isn't. Queen Haven saying that the parade is for Zipp is a nice touch. And then the baby pictures show how this whole dichotomy has been going on since the sisters were just kids. There's just so much going on here, and it's awesome. This short episode shows almost as much characterization and contrast between the two sisters as a whole movie did, which is both great and sad at the same time. Also, we see that there are unicorns in Zephyr Heights, implying that the tribes are intermingling now. Zipp's flight school is also really good because it shows even though Zipp, quote, doesn't want followers and was reluctant to teach, she's actually good at it, and she knows how to lead and to help others, which arguably makes her more fit to rule than Pipp. There's a saying that people who want power usually should never have it, so Zipp being a reluctant ruler means she'll probably be a good one when she does take the throne, if she does. The flashback also goes to show how despite Queen Haven seeming to not consider Zipp's wishes a lot of the time, she still isn't a bad mom. It adds complexity to their relationship, and I'm really glad to see that. Pipp gets her moment to shine with her Salon episode. The main takeaway is that she's terrified of failure. Her being the perfect child to Queen Haven, And her perfectly fitting what's expected of her as a princess is in part due to her not wanting to fail and not wanting to disappoint anyone. It adds depth and explains her seeming vanity. And once again, we see how Zipp can be very considerate and caring, qualities that will make her a good ruler. I get the impression that these early episodes of Tell Your Tale are trying to make up for the lack of characterization in the movie. Pipp wanting to be what is expected of her is shown again in Clip Trot, when she says that she has to do the trendy horse TikTok dance because it's what her followers will expect of her, and she insists on doing it exactly like everyone else. But to be honest, I just found this one episode genuinely hard to watch, so I skipped most of it, and I don't really know how it concluded or anything. So I got nothing else to say here. Then there's Izzy, who in the first episode got no fanfare when she left and had to imagine it. Also in Zipp's flight school, Izzy being the one to build the obstacle course and to make the sock puppets and necklace for Wendy keeps in mind how she's a tinker and that, she's an outcast and the unicorns don't really like her. It's so sad. Despite her not being the focus of those episodes, it's nice to see that they bore her character in mind and gave her those tiny little moments. And Nightmare Roommate is about her being a crappy roommate, and it's excellent characterization of her as an outcast, because all her flaws come from her being socially inept because she's never been around other ponies before, and she just doesn't know what to do. And she wants to fit in. And side note, the fact that there's a Zipp pen goes to show just how far the Pegasus cult of celebrity goes, to the point that princesses have their own merch. Although we get to see later that Hitch has a pen of himself, so yeah, I don't know what to make of that. Maybe the animators just thought it was cute. I don't know. One interesting thing is that Izzy's magic can go off at random while she sleeps, which is interesting world building surrounding unicorns just getting their magic back. Uncontrollable baby unicorn magic is something we've seen before in MLP, so having that apply to adult unicorns who, have never had experience with magic is just a nice little detail. And watching her creative process in TUES Day was really cool, and hearing about a unicorn holiday, specifically about the sparkle we don't know much about, makes me really curious to know more about what a sparkle is. We also see Izzy struggling with loneliness and using her creativity to cope, which is really good characterization. I also want to point out that in the Sunny breakfast camping thing episode, Izzy was hunting for gemstones, which just, yeah, that's cool. I wonder why. I want to know what she's going to do with them. She's also shown to be a bit of a Luddite when she says talking picture squares and deletes Pipp's video, which fits the unicorn's apparent lack of technology. Sunny turning to Hitch for advice about Izzy being, Izzy, builds upon him being a thoughtful and reliable character, and it shows that Sunny knows him well enough to know that he's the person they should go to. He's also very considerate. You can see that with how he treats the prisoner, and what's shown in the unboxing of Izzy, with how he planned the tour around his friend's interests, and was distraught about it being ruined for Izzy. And also, his main goal of wanting to show how great Maritime Bay is shows that he's devoted to the town that he serves. Sunny, however, seems pretty lacking at first, which makes sense given we saw a lot of her in the film, and I would say the same about Hitch, but I never thought he needed any more characterization. He's pretty solid. One thing I did notice about Sunny is that she does do some cooking and continues to run her smoothie stand. It's implied that she's good with cooking from the very beginning. So seeing that remain, a hobby and skill of hers is really nice to see continue to be a part of her. I think the best thing that we've seen so far, though, is how Sunny uses her dad's notebook to learn about TUES Day, and how that helps bring ponies together, which is just really awesome. The Alicorn episode, I don't even know what to say. Sunny continues, like on multiple occasions, to be the person who helps other people with their problems. But we've seen her do that before, so it's not exactly anything new. But her whole Alicorn magic thing, and the glitter, and the repeated, glowing cutie marks when, an important friendship moment happens, there's a lot there that we just don't know what any of that means yet. So while it doesn't do much for her character, it raises questions that, keep people engaged in wanting to know about it. Because I want to know. I'm excited to see how that comes to play in the future. So, yeah. I totally expected Tell Your Tale to be nothing but, filler and fluff and like just a glorified advertisement to get kids into the show. And in a lot of ways, it is. But I was pleasantly surprised to see that while the world hasn't been expanded on much, albeit given the episodes are 5 minutes long, they don't really have much of a chance to do so, they did expand on the characters. And it was well written, too. And while it is a bit too silly at times, just for me,
hentai,
personally, the writing it shocked me, just how well written it is. And while the Cal art style isn't for me, the animation is not bad, especially the backgrounds. What I see Tell Your Tale to be is character building. Each episode in some way develops the characters. And what I think is most important is that it gives the VAs a way to break in the characters before the real show, where the money's on the line. In that, I think it's successful. By the 17th short, I had entirely adjusted to the new voices. And while I still feel the new Equestria is a bit bland, I think they solved most of my problems with the characters. Where before, I didn't like Zipp and Pipp. I really do now. A lot was added to them to really flesh out their characters. Both Hitch and Izzy, mostly Izzy, had a lot of great character moments that compounded on what we already knew of them. The only disappointment is Sunny. There are many shorts that focus on adding to her or fleshing her out, which is very disappointing. She still has a few good moments, but she doesn't do much beyond what we've already seen her do. For the pony who's supposed to fill the shoes of Twilight, she's just a little too bland. Also, her hair stripes are stupid. Anyways, that's all I have to say. So like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you enjoy my other stuff too, and I hope to see you next time.